Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet the founder of an organization that's helping make DFW a better place to live. His story just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
I am so blessed to call DFW my home. I will never live anyplace else. And I can tell you that the secret is out, because each year we're adding an extra 100 or 200, 300,000 people. And so others on either coast, Florida, are realizing that there's a great quality of life here. But when you add that many people, you also have to make sure they get plugged into local nonprofits and the community. And to make a change on that front is Louis Darrouzet. He is with the Metroplex Civic and Business Association, also known as NCBA. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Jeff.
Now, I need to know how this started for you.
Well, you know, I didn't plan on starting this kind of an organization, but there was a couple companies in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex that had been, you know, really involved, giving back, volunteering, really getting their employees engaged in the community. But they saw certain areas of DFW starting to struggle as hundreds of thousands of people were coming into the Metroplex, as you alluded to a moment ago. Not everywhere was receiving those people. Actually, last year, as 400,000 people moved into DFW, I think 15 or 20,000 people actually left Dallas proper. So it was clear that areas were struggling, and there's some core issues and core support that the city needs. So those companies started looking at ways they could impact the community a little bit further. And one of those ways was looking at, are we voting in local elections? And historically, local election turnout for those nonpartisan, you know, mayor, city council, school board races is really low. It's about 7%. And these companies started wanting to get their employees turning out, make sure they were becoming educated on the issues, and make sure they were sharing their voices in the community as well. So as they started getting their employees involved, that's where kind of the magic happened. And I kind of brought my background from Jesuit in there with the volunteering, and we created the NCBA, where we could get companies engaged in the community, getting their employees engaged in the community, participating fully, right? So not just volunteering and not just fundraising for local charities, but also sharing their voice and making sure that the right local leadership is elected into office.
Absolutely. We've got the website. We're going to scroll down the homepage, and I think this is so important, Louis, because so many people complain about what's happening and they don't actually get involved. They don't vote. So voting is one of your core principles. Also, you have a number of nonprofits that you partner with. Tell us why the giving back piece is so important.
You know, growing up here in Dallas, I went to Jesuit, and as a senior at Jesuit, you were required to do 100 hours of community service. And you know, when you're 18 years old, that 100 hours means you don't have class every Wednesday. And that's exciting, right? 4 days of school every week. Wow, what a great way to end high school. But looking back, you realize, man, 20% of my senior year, I spent giving back to the community. It was so important to the school that we learned how giving back needs to play such a fundamental role in your life. So finding nonprofits and charities across DFW that we can partner with and we can support through the employees of our member companies really is important. And one of the things that is important to our organization is that the charities that we're working with don't create dependence. right? We want to work with charities that are giving people a hand up in a sustainable way, not just giving handouts. We don't want to create a larger subsidy and grow the number of people that need support. We want to support people in a way to where in the future they won't need support. And then maybe guess what? They can help support other people. So the pyramid effect goes the other way, and everyone's helping and gets to a place where they can give back and help.
Absolutely, and I urge everybody to follow their social media posts. We found a great video. Let's go ahead and roll that.
What is good? What things are beneficial for our organization? Do we need to get permits done quicker? Do we need the zoning process to be improved? Is there a way that we can reduce it so that commerce and our economy can flow more freely?
The Metroplex Civic and Business Association brings together top leaders across the Metroplex to ensure the continued growth and success of this great Metroplex.
We're nonpartisan, so we're focusing on pro-growth, pro-opportunity, making sure the business community and our entire community can thrive.
Pro-business means pro-employee, pro-employer, pro-family, pro-responsibility, and pro-growth. We're working to ensure that employers have the very best chance at creating more jobs, increasing wages, and giving back to the community.
Wow, and you started this right at the height of COVID, I think, didn't you?
Yeah, it was coming out of the end of 2020 is when I decided to make the leap. I left Keurig Dr. Pepper, and from there it's just really exploded. We just crossed over into 100 member companies. We actually have 112, so we didn't cross over. We like triple jumped over.
That's awesome.
And the growth has been really astronomical as more and more of the key business leaders in our community are getting involved and then getting their employees involved. And that's I think something that's really important, and because it is businesses and business leaders coming together that causes a city to exist and grow from the very beginning. But when the business leaders are not focused on the city and are not focused on the local, it starts to fall apart. So getting the business leaders and those key industry titans and their employees engaged and paying attention is what we need to have a sustainable future.
Absolutely, and we know that the Gen Zs, they love to work for companies that stand for something more than the almighty dollar, and so you're helping some of these companies fulfill that mission. I want to talk about Youth World Dallas, because that's a nonprofit that you're very passionate about. Tell us more about Youth World Dallas.
Youth World is an organization on the southwest side of Dallas, and there's not a lot of places for children to go after school. A lot of the families that live down there have one parent or it's a dual working household. So kids end up after school just being home alone or kind of left to their own devices. And that is also true during the summer. So Youth World has created a space, an environment where children can come after school. They are, reviewed, they do homework, they do math, they do STEM, they do art and music, and they learn about faith, and they have a safe place to go, and they ensure that they have a warm meal before they leave to go home. And the same thing happens during the summer. They have summer camps where all day long they have a place to go, and they're learning and growing and playing sports and being active and bettering themselves and learning about paths in their life that they could potentially take that maybe they don't see modeled by their parents, and that's okay. But having a resource like this in that community is critical, and they serve hundreds and hundreds of children after school every day, and they're always looking for volunteers to come help support, come help teach, come show perspective to these children so that they can see a different life for themselves. So it's really moving the needle.
And during the holidays you do a big event. Let's go ahead and roll that tape.
Lights, please. That's what Christmas is all about, Charlie Brown. I got 2 American dogs. I got a slide. kinetic sand, and a sketch.
The shepherds came to see the baby.
What was your favorite thing that you got?
The shopping part, getting things, getting a lot of stuff.
Nice.
But mostly be grateful for what you get.
Yeah,
Saying thank you.
that's true.
Oh, what a glorious night.
This is awesome. This is the first time I've done this, and to be able to hang out with some really young, cool people.
It's our favorite time of year. This is our Christmas present.
Thank you, sponsors and shoppers, for making this the best Target trip ever. The kids are just so excited. They're going home with gifts that they normally wouldn't have. It's because of you. You gave them Christmas, and we're so grateful.
Wow, what a cool organization. What's one of your favorite memories so far with them?
I think if I think back to the coat drive, coat and toy drive, really, this past year, it was as we prepared to have all the families and children come through and pick out a coat and pick out a toy, just the excitement on the kids' face when they would find a jacket that they really liked. It was kind of like they got to go shopping for themselves and then go to the toy area and pick out a toy for Christmas that they really liked, which, you know, they wouldn't necessarily get a whole bunch of presents or a whole, but I found when people get to pick something that resonates with them or that they really like, it's more meaningful to them, and you could just feel that energy in the room when they're picking it out. So.
We have about a minute left, so let's circle back to the election and why it's so important for people to get involved in their local community.
Yeah, it's one of the main reasons why MCBA was founded. Local elections are critical. They're the nonpartisan races. They're the races that set the foundation for the daily life we experience every day. And my background is not in politics or elections or anything like this. So bringing my chemical engineering background and looking at it from all these different perspectives for the last couple of years, I've come to realize that most people want the same things. They want to be able to be successful and provide for their family and loved ones. They want to feel safe, so they want low crime and low homelessness. They want great schools so their children can hopefully be successful one day. And they want to be able to build and develop and grow businesses, which usually requires low taxes and low regulation. If we get those things right, we'll have a great city every single time. And that's kind of the foundation of a city. And when a city forgets to focus on those things is when they start to struggle. So our goal is it's not about parties, it's about communities and bringing people back together and remembering that we're way more similar than we are different. And finding that common ground is what we're aiming to do with MCBA.
Outstanding. That's a great way to end this segment. We'll also leave you with the website, which is mcbadfw.org. Louis, thanks for coming on the show.
Jeff, thanks for having me today.
That's it for today. We'll see you next time.